Mario Kart World has been out for a year now, and ever since the game came out, people have been comparing it to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe constantly. I won't even pretend like this wasn't a hot topic a year ago. But now that it's been some time, what exactly has changed, if anything at all? Are either of these games worth $80 or more? Which one should you be buying for your Nintendo Switch 2, assuming you own one? Today, we're going to answer that question once and for all. Now you might be a bit confused. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe only retails for $60 on the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, that's technically true. However, if you want to get all the content that's ever been released for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you might be shelling out an extra $25 for the Booster Course Pass, bringing the total of this game up to a nice old $85. That's a bit of a cringy price if you think about it. So for that grand old price of $85, what do you get? The first thing you get is you have a Grand Prix, where you have your 3-lap tracks and section tracks, and you're racing against other racers trying to get that coveted first place. The other thing? Versus mode, where you can play all these tracks offline by yourself or on teams with the computers, or you can do local multiplayer with up to 4 players. At least I'm pretty sure it's up to 4 players. Another thing you get are a few different battle modes, with options for both local play and online via Nintendo Switch Online. Another thing you get are 48 unique tracks to this game and 8 battle courses. Pretty sizable if you ask me. If you also want to go back and watch any of your races or battle modes, Mario Kart TV will hold on to a select number of tracks that you've raced on, and you can go back and view the highlight reels. Kind of fun if you want to edit them and post them online for fun. This game also boasts 200cc, the fastest mode that has ever been in a Mario Kart game, where you are forced to go crazy fast and have to either utilize your brake, or you have to pick a combo that's going to allow you to race on 200cc, depending on who you are. And of course, we can't forget Mirror Mode, where everything is basically flipped. Every Mario Kart game's had that for a while now, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise to you, or at least a good chunk of them have. Now, Mario Kart World retails for $80 on the Nintendo Switch 2. Is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, but its price can be reduced if you at least buy a bundle that includes the Switch 2. So what does Mario Kart World include for that price? You get the Grand Prix as well, which usually has one 3-lap track at the beginning, and mostly intermission tracks, and 1 lap on the track once you get there. And some section tracks in there too. Mario Kart World is very interesting in terms of its Grand Prix. You also get a Versus mode, which is similar to Mario Kart 8, but we can turn off the intermission tracks if we want to, which is nice, but again, pretty similar to what it was in 8 Deluxe. You also get a few different battle modes here, with options for both local play and online via Nintendo Switch Online. You also get the exclusive Knockout Tour, where you're trying to race to get all the way to the front and maintain your place and to not get knocked out of the race. Free Roam, where you can drive all around the world and do several different things. You also, for this price, get 30 unique tracks and a certain number of battle courses. I actually don't remember, but you get some battle courses. And, of course, if you do the right conditions, you unlock Mirror Mode. So what about the tracks themselves? Now, in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you have a lot of tracks. You have 48 unique courses, at least if you buy the base game, but if you buy the Booster Course Pass, you get an extra 48. Yeah, that's 96 unique tracks, my friends. That's a lot. We're not even exaggerating. That is a lot of tracks. Some of them are better than others. Some of them are different graphic quality than others. The Booster Course Pass tended to go for the Mario Kart Tour style, whereas Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the base game, has its own unique style, which is a bit less, I guess less cartoony is the way I'd put it. But generally, it's not bad. I enjoy racing on most of them, at least in the times that I have. For the section tracks themselves, though, well, that greatly depends. There are 2 types of tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, your 3-lap tracks and your section tracks. Your 3-lap tracks I tended to enjoy. It's 3 laps of pure fun, chaos, and of course everything you'd expect Mario Kart to be. The section tracks, on the other hand, are you drive on one section, then the next section's completely different, and then the last section is completely different. Okay, so these, in terms of enjoyment, for me, it greatly depends. A lot of the ones in the base game I found to be fun, but if you get the Booster Course Pass, they can be a bit hit or miss. While I do appreciate, for example, that the city tracks take all the variants from Mario Kart Tour that they have and basically put them together into one, that's a cool concept, If they were fun, we'd be having a different story. The problem is, I didn't find them all that enjoyable. So, section tracks are hit or miss in this one. For Mario Kart World, you may be thinking, okay, new Mario Kart game, how'd we do on the tracks? Well, the 3-lap tracks, absolutely amazing. I actually can't tell you which ones are bad. I had so much fun on all of them. This is the right balance of both chaos and sense. You have a lot of cool atmospheres around here, and they're all very fun to drive on. I have no complaints. The section tracks themselves are also the best they've ever been. I felt like each of them were different, and there was a reason for them being section tracks rather than 3-lap tracks. Each section feels unique, and it still flows, which is one of the reasons why I like them. The big addition in Mario Kart World are the intermission tracks. Oh, the intermission tracks. People have complained extensively, and I don't feel the need to continue the complaining too much, but I will say, and agree with the majority of the population, that most of them are kind of boring. There are a lot of straight lines, pretty straightforward, but the one time they can be really fun is in Knockout Tour, and that's mostly due to the chaotic nature of that mode, which we'll get into in a little bit here. But overall, if you take out the intermission tracks, frankly, most of them are kind of boring. A couple of them are good, but most of them are eh. I think the tracks in Mario Kart World are still pretty good. So Battle Mode in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you have a great selection of battle games, and they're actually all kind of fun, which is really funny to me. So you have Renegade Roundup, which is basically cops and robbers, except with piranha plants, because piranha plants just arrest people. I find it funny that piranha plants are the cops. Like, I too want to be a piranha plant cop. I think that'd be fun. Shine Thief is you, as a player, have to try and hang on to the shine sprite as long as possible, but when you have it, your movement's significantly slowed down and it's harder to dodge things. Bob-omb Blast is pretty much the same as Balloon Battle if you've ever played Balloon Battle, except instead of balloons, it's bob-ombs. You're constantly throwing bombs are being thrown at you, and you're trying to knock other people out. A blast, honestly. Pun totally intended. For Balloon Battle, you are given a set number of balloons, and your goal is to knock out other people's balloons, and make sure you don't lose your own. It's a very fun battle game indeed. And Coin Runners, well, you're just trying to collect as many coins as possible. In Mario Kart World, they cut a few of the battle games. You still have Bob-omb Blast, Balloon Battle, and Coin Runners. Those are the 3 that made a return. I think, again, fun concepts. Generally, I enjoy the battle games. But I won't say that this is the reason most people are going to buy a Mario Kart game. For me, I think it's a fun side mode, but this isn't, something that we're going to dive into too much because most people aren't here for those. I think they're great, but again, I'm one person. So the character selection in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is very interesting. You have 42 characters originally in the base game, and you get 8 more from the Booster Course Pass. You might be thinking to yourself, though, were all these characters necessary? I would argue some of them not. You have some interesting choices as to who they made a character. Some people will infamously point to Metal Mario and Pink Gold Peach. I'm gonna point to Baby Rosalina, because when has she ever been canon? She's never been in a game. Baby Daisy, okay, she's at least been in a Mario Kart game before, but still, why is she here? Has she ever been, in a Mario game? I have no idea. You also have all the Koopalings, which I think is an interesting choice. I don't know why we did that. They take up a lot of character slots. They could have up in Bowser Jr. and then, did different skins, because I'm pretty sure most of them have the same stats. I don't remember, though. It's been a minute. Another thing you have in this is that you have some skins that have the same stats and other skins with different stats. Like, all the different colored Yoshis have the same stats, they're just different colors. But then you have Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach, which are just Mario and Peach in their costumes, but they have different stats from base Mario and base Peach. I don't fully understand how the power-up changes their stats, but okay, we're gonna have to roll with it. It doesn't fully make sense. You have an interesting roster in this one, though I think some character placements are a little bit weird, but given the different stats, I can understand why some of the skins aren't just, skins rather than, being a skin instead they're a separate character. I can understand it based on the stat differences, but I also wasn't entirely sure why there were stat differences. Maybe that's just me, though. In Mario Kart World, you have 50 total players. 24 of them are characters, and 24 of them are normally non-playable characters that are for some reason not NPCs anymore. Honestly, I think that's really unique. I love being able to race as Conqueror. It's really fun. Conqueror, my beloved. You have a really cool roster, though you definitely have some strange choices in here. Not because of most of the base characters, though. I think the character choices are interesting, but the strange choice I cannot get around is the menu for the costumes is questionable. I really don't know why they did this. I can't explain to you why, for example, you could, now granted you could sort the menu to be two different ways, but I don't know why all the skins are separated out and making the roster look as big as it is. It's a bit deceptive because it's not like these characters have different stats wearing different costumes. They just are the same character. So why this isn't menued differently, I cannot tell you. Not saying the costumes aren't cute, though. I think they're adorable. Soft Serve Toadette, by the way, absolutely one of the cutest costumes in the game. Although I do wish DK and Pauline had more of them. Overall, you have some really good character choices between both games, though. Really, no big complaint there. So a lot of what I've talked about so far are similar aspects between the two games. Well, what's different? In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the big thing here was anti-gravity, where you get extra speed boosts when you bump into other characters, some raised pegs, some walls, and other areas. Other than that, it really didn't have much of an impact on gameplay. The reason why this is noticeable, though, at least I think it's notable and noticeable, is because if you go into MKTV, you can actually see your characters going in different directions. Like if you're on anti-gravity section, you can see them going upside down, or you can see them riding along the wall. But when you're driving, because the camera constantly follows you, it really doesn't feel like, oh hey, I'm defying gravity. But if you look at MKTV, it's fine. Speaking of MKTV, that's another unique feature of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that Mario Kart World does not have. You can view races that you've completed and construct highlight reels out of them. Which, I'm honestly kind of shocked this hasn't caught on in the new social media era that we're in. I remember it being a thing on Miiverse where people would actually post them, but since Miiverse has been defunct for years, yeah, not many people use this feature, and I think it's kind of sad because it was really fun. I don't really see anyone use it, but I think it's fun to be able to go back, look at your races, and it's also fun doing slow-mos. See slow-mos are like items hitting you and stuff like that. I always enjoyed it. The last big exclusive thing to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is 200cc, where you're basically going at a speed of pretty much not quite a million miles an hour, but really fast, and it results in chaos. You need to strategize a lot. Like, you need to have a good combo for it and some skill. Like, you can't just, I mean, I guess you could be a rookie and just go into it, but it's not going to be easy. It requires strategic use of the brake. Honestly, I had to learn how to press both B and A at the same time in order to make sure I was slowing down enough for turns rather than just full-on braking. I also managed to find a specific combo I use for it. And I think a lot of people did too, that I had to find specific combos that worked for 200cc because otherwise it was very hard to play. But it's definitely a lot of fun because it is chaotic and it requires you to think a little bit outside the box as to how you play the game. It's not just hold down the button and go, it's we have to actually think about how we're going to race these tracks. Now, Mario Kart World's unique features are a little bit different. In Mario Kart World, you have what I call acrobatics! Or in other words, the wall tricking and the rail grinding. Or as I like to say, Mario is taking a page from Sonic the Hedgehog's book, and for some reason can do stuff now. The big thing about this is that it definitely has a higher skill ceiling, but if you put in the time, you can definitely do some really cool tricks around the board, or around the course in this case. The potential for shortcuts is pretty much limitless. You could do a lot with shortcuts in this game if you choose to wall trick, rail grind. There are a lot of things you can pull off if you put in the time to master it. But I think it's a bit harder to master these things than it was in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I think, has a lower skill ceiling than World, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Another unique feature to Mario Kart World is Knockout Tour, where you're trying to stay above 20th place, 16th place, 12th place, 8th place, 4th place, and finally, well, trying to get to the end of the course. Or the intermission tracks in this case. And this is really fun. You either have to keep racing until you get to the end, or until you get knocked out, whichever happens first, which it honestly can go either way. This mode is extremely thrilling, gets the heart racing if you will. Especially if you're close to getting knocked out and then you just barely make it. Oh, it makes the heart rate go up. Oh, it's so much fun. It's definitely adrenaline inducing, and in many ways, this is probably the most adrenaline I will experience in my life. I think it's great. It does feel a little bit luck-based at times though, which definitely also depends on your driving skills and a lot of item luck. Between the two, and there is some skill involved, it's not all luck, but it definitely can come down to luck. And that's probably the biggest disadvantage of Knockout Tour, is that it's not just pure skill. But I did think there definitely is some skill involved, just not as much as, say, the normal races. The final really big thing that Mario Kart World has over Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I think it's the underrated gem, is free roam. Now, a lot of people are like, ugh, free roam. What do we care about free roam? Are you kidding me? I think it's fantastic. I'm personally very biased here. I actually got every single thing you could because I was finally able to. But those P-Switch missions, while some concepts were repeated constantly, they all felt different enough that I still got enjoyment out of each and every single one of them. I honestly cannot tell you one I didn't like. I can tell you some of them weren't memorable, but none of them were necessarily bad. They were all pretty good. Another big thing you can collect at free roam are the Peach medallions, which were definitely cleverly hidden a lot of the time and honestly give a good thought challenge as to how to get to them. Some of them, for example, are raised high above your head. So you have to find a way to get to that part, which may include, learning how to wall trick a little bit better, or rail grinding off a power line, or something like that in order to get the medallion. I think these were really clever and definitely gave a good thought and skill challenge. Another cool thing about free roam, which is definitely underrated, is that you could drive around in UFOs and large trucks, among other things, and even boats. Oh my gosh, being able to just control a large machine for a little bit, really fun. Especially the UFO where you could just suck up everything. I think it's great. Another big thing that I really like about free roam is the exploration, which if you take the time to do it, it's so much fun. You can see a lot of little references throughout free roam. And also you find all the P-Switch missions and the Peach medallions, and it's just a lot of fun. Now, is there much to do after you've, collected everything? No, I mean, not really. I also can't forget the question mark block panels, like there are some of those throughout the world. Once you get everything, is there much to do after that? Not necessarily, but I like to say that if you want to go back and do the challenges again, you absolutely can. Especially the ones that were really hard, like I don't remember exactly what they're called, but the really tricky ones. I thought those were fun to go back to because to really test my skills and figure out, okay, how do I do this? It really encourages me to improve upon the skills I have in Mario Kart World. It really is encouraging to be able to just race on the tracks and try something over and over again. That's the nice thing, is that you can rewind time and try this over and over again as much as you want. So if there's a shortcut you're struggling with, you don't have to replay the whole track to get back there. You could just hit the rewind button and practice it in free roam, which I think that's invaluable to learning many of the shortcuts. I think it's fantastic. Really, I have no complaints about free roam. It's one of my favorite things in the whole game. So which game is better, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Mario Kart World? You already know what I'm gonna say, don't you? You don't? Okay. Well, it really comes down to personal preference. I cannot tell you which game you're going to like more. I can tell you which game I like more, but that's not going to influence you. The thing about it that I think we can objectively talk about is which game is actively worth the cost. And that is also going to depend on a few things. Do you want the classic Mario Kart experience, your 3-lap tracks, your Grand Prix, being able to race online on 3-lap tracks with other people? Or do you want a kart racer with more exploration? How you plan to play the game is going to determine which one you're going to want to buy. And I think it also comes down to price. Is Mario Kart worth paying $60 if you don't plan on getting the Booster Course Pass for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, $80 if you just want Mario Kart World, or $85 if you want the full game for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? The way I see it, if you want the classic Mario Kart experience, like 3-lap tracks, fun online racing mode, tournaments, you pick Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And you consider the Booster Course Pass if you're interested in the courses offered. But if you want something that's a bit more relaxed, but has chaos where it matters, and can be quite fun to play online every once in a while, you'd pick Mario Kart World. Or if your name is mine, you could just pick both, and oh no, even though I already had Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, yeah, I've spent money on this game a few times. Now, for me personally, I'm more of a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe fan, but I think Mario Kart World is a bit more underrated than people think it is. There's definitely a lot of things to Mario Kart World that are not to be in love with, but there are also things to be in love with, you know what I mean? And you also have to keep in mind, for myself and Mario Kart 8, I owned it on the Wii U. Okay, like, this is just a thing. I owned it on the Wii U back in the day. Because I owned Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U back in the day, I think we need to take the nostalgia bias into account. Because, yeah, that's one of my, I guess you could say, games I played during my teenage years. And it kind of stuck around. Like, I put hours into Mario Kart 8. So for me, the nostalgia bias and on top of that, number of hours I put into it bias is definitely there. However, I do think Mario Kart World is a good game in its own right. I just wouldn't spend $80 on it. Then again, I wouldn't spend $85 on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe either. If you want my personal recommendation, what I would do is I'd either wait for the games to go on sale, which is unlikely because they're Nintendo first-party things, or you try and get Mario Kart World when you go to buy a Nintendo Switch 2, because then you'll at least get $30 off the price, and it'll be $50 plus whatever tax is there. And if you ask me, $50 is more than reasonable for Mario Kart World. I think for that price, it's actually worth it. Now, for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I wouldn't be spending $85 on that game, but I never spent $85 on that game. I don't think most games are worth $80, and I don't think Mario Kart's gonna be one of those either, so if you can find it on a bit of a discount, or you can find it for a cheaper price, either one, I honestly think you can't go wrong. At least if you own a Switch 2. If you own a Switch, well, you're probably playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You can't play Mario Kart World on that, they're not backwards compatible. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe. I have more on the docket that I cannot wait to share with you. I will see you all in the next one. Have a good day, everybody.